everybody and welcome back to another video. Today we have my updated night routine and this one is going to be very different to last year's one because we have a new member of the team, Fossey, our rescue pup from the RSPCA, so don't worry, he's going to be making an appearance a little bit later in today's video. But first off, it's time to do the horses. Now, when I ride really does vary depending on the day for many different reasons. Number one is the weather. We are now in autumn going into winter and it gets quite wet. It also gets quite dark now. So actually on this particular day, I had already ridden my pony Casper. I rode him first thing in the morning. We took him for a hack and we also did some filming with him as well. So it was then time this evening to ride my horse Joey. So today I decided to do some pole work with him. We've been really working on our flat work. We're still getting there, but we have been having a lot of dressage lessons and Joey is starting to feel a lot stronger now, which is brilliant. So we actually went for a short and sweet session this evening because Joey actually worked so hard the day before. So once I get off him, I always make sure I give him a good cool down, so a good walk off, because it was a late night session, so it meant that Joey would be going into his stable afterwards. Then it's time to untack Joey, so take off his saddle, his boots, his bridle, and also get myself untacked, so I take off my helmet, also put my wellies on because it is so muddy right now. I also popped on Joey's stable rug because, again, as I said, it is super chilly at the moment, so I wanted to make sure that he was as snug as a bug in a rug. And then I gave him a little snack, so the horses have a little flake of hay each to keep them going. I didn't want to give Joey too much of a big dinner because he has just been exercising, so actually recently I've been giving them their bedtime dinner a little bit later on, so don't worry, we will be doing night checks and we will be coming back to the horses in a little bit. So once they were all in, I got in little Duke, I gave them lots of kisses and attention and they all were fed and watered. It's then time to head on home. But before I go, I can't forget to bring my puppy Fossey with me. So Fossey isn't quite a horsey yard dog yet because we are still waiting for his vaccinations to kick in, but don't worry, very soon he'll be getting used to the horse life. So my mum was very kindly looking after him in the house where he was nice and safe. So once I load him up into the car, into his little car seat where I clip him onto his harness to keep him nice and safe, it's then time to go into the cottage and warm up. Also at this time I like to take off his collar and also his harness so he can have some time being naked. I don't know if anybody else does that with their dog. And then shut all of the curtains because you best believe it is chilly and I want to try and keep as much warm in the cottage as possible because it is over 100 years old. Then Fossey quite likes to go into his bed as soon as we get home and I like to have a shower, and of course he is at that age where he has to come everywhere with me. Next, it's time for my skincare, and you might have seen in previous videos that I've been enjoying using Foro's products for way over a year now, who have also kindly partnered up with me on today's video, and we have some incredible Black Friday deals for you. So first off, I'm applying the FAQ Red Light Peptide Serum to help amplify each treatment. Then it's time to pop on the FAQ 202 LED face mask that has 8 different wavelengths of light, including near infrared, and it's also great at combating signs of aging and also skin concerns with clinically proven results. You all know I spend a lot of time outside and my skin really does face all the elements, so after a long day I really enjoy putting on this LED face mask. I find that afterwards my skin feels smoother, less dull. It also helps even out my skin tone, especially as I get a little bit of acne, so this mask helps re-strengthen the different layers of skin and also the healing process when I do get a spot or two. Because this mask is lightweight, wireless, and also molds to any face shape, I find that when I'm wearing it around the house, I honestly forget that it's on my face. So here I am watching TV with Fossey while going through my treatment. So Foro actually have some amazing Black Friday deals, so now is the time to shop, especially as you have an additional 35% off with the code 35ESME on almost all Foro products. Christmas is only around the corner, so this could be a brilliant gift for a friend or family member, and for more information I'll leave a link in the the description below. Normally around this time in the evening, Fossey has a little nap. He absolutely loves that blanket on the sofa, so I tucked him up in there and he had a little snooze while I was getting my dinner ready. But it wasn't long until he was up and investigating what I was doing in the kitchen. So for dinner this evening, I decided to make a vegetable soup, just because this time of year, with it being darker in the evenings, a little bit chillier, it really is soup season, especially as it's such a cozy meal after a long day. Anyway, then I chopped up all of my veggies. So today in my vegetable soup, we have butternut squash, onion, leek, and parsnip, which sounds a little bit random, but when it's all together, I promise you, it tastes so good. And then while that was in the oven baking, it was then time to do some training with Fossey. So I find one of the best times to do some training with him is just before his breakfast, his dinner, or his lunch. So this was before dinner. We decided to do some practice of his new trick, which is called get in your bed, and then also making him wait in his bed until I give him the cue free when he is allowed to go out of it. So we've only been learning this trick for 24 hours, but he's picked it up so quickly. Fossey is such an intelligent puppy. At the time of filming, we've only had him a week and a half, so he has been doing so well with his training. And do not worry, we have my first day with Fossey video coming out very, very soon. So we also have learned another trick, which is wait. So I make him wait before he's allowed his dinner. So now we put all the tricks together. So he does get in his bed, wait, and then he's allowed his dinner. And he is just such a good boy. I've had so much fun having him around. I know it's still early days and there is a lot of effort and work that goes into training a puppy, looking after one. It is pretty much a full-time job, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Then it's time to finish off making my dinner. So I have some lovely crusty bread to go with my soup, and it's also time to finish off making the soup as well. So I just scoop out all of the butternut squash from its skin, and then it's time to mix and mash it all up. I also added a little bit of cream in there, some chili oil, and also some chili flakes on top. And oh my goodness, there is just something about home cooked food that is incredible. And then before I knew it, it was time to go back to the horses. When it's time for night checks, you best believe I am absolutely layered up. So I have my big long coat on, I also put my ear warmers back on, and I also have my industrial torch as well. Luckily the stables do have lights, so that is an absolute lifesaver this time of year. And of course, when I do go and see them, I have to give them a lot of attention, a lot of love, a lot of cuddles. Here you can see Joey being a little bit on the more impatient side when it came to me getting his dinner ready. We have this little game where I shut the tack room door and then he uses his snoot to open it up, and he does this every single time. He is so nosy, he loves to be involved, he loves to see what is happening. So then it's time for me to make his dinner. At night, Joey gets 2 cupfuls of Bailey's Performance Balancer with some light chaff as well, and I always like to teach my horses manners, so I do this thing where I get them to walk backwards before they have their food. Then it's time for Casper's, and he is on Bailey's Low-Cal Balancer just because he's not in as hard work as Joey. Casper is my older horse. He's going to be 20 in the new year, which is absolutely wild. Time has flown by. And then we have little Duke, whose bucket is absolutely destroyed. I just want to apologise for the state of his bucket. Duke is not allowed to have nice things because they get destroyed. But anyway, Duke is also on Low-Cal Balancer as well. And as you might be able to see, he is looking so fluffy at the moment. That's how you know we're going into winter, because Duke, he is actually a Welshie, but he looks like a Shetland in the winter because he gets so fluffy. A lot of people get him confused. They keep calling him a Shetland. I'm like, no, he's a Welshie. But anyway, here is Casper very politely eating his dinner. And actually, recently we've been soaking all of their hay nets to get rid of all the sugar, just because all of my horses are on a bit of a diet, especially after Joey had a little bit of laminitis earlier on in the year. We're very, very cautious of the amount of sugar intake that he has, so that is why all of their hay is soaked, and they've been doing really well on that. Although Casper, he does get a bit sassy sometimes. He much prefers having hay that is not soaked, but you know what? He still eats it. So here I am emptying the sugar water / hay tea that has been created from the soaked hay nets. This is probably one of my least favourite jobs, especially in the winter, because the water is absolutely freezing. The hay nets are often very heavy after being soaked, and the rope really just cut into your fingers. And when your fingers are cold, it's just not a good combination. So it might be hard work, but it is all worth it for these guys. I mean, look at Duke's little face. He was absolutely loving having some bedtime scratchies. He is also absolutely filthy at the moment because he was out rolling in the mud in his paddock during the day. So all of my horses go out during the day, get to be a horse, get to get as muddy as they like, and then at night they just get tucked up into bed. So after their bedtime kisses and cuddles, and I've made sure that they've all gone to the toilet, they have all drank water, that their water has been filled up, and they're all looking good and happy, it's then time to turn off the lights and head back to the cottage. After having a little bit more of a chill down time at home, watching some telly, reading my book, Fossey normally falls asleep somewhere random, and I have to do this thing where I call it croissant mode, where he kind of rolls himself up into like a little croissant shape, and then I quietly try and put him in his bed, in his crate, in the same sort of croissant shape. I don't know if this is a Sighthound thing or a Fossey thing, so let me know in the comments. But then once he has settled down to bed, and he has also been to the toilet as well, because yes, I am still waking up multiple times in the night to take him out to the toilet, it is then time to try and get some rest, because with puppies, you don't get much sleep, but I'm trying my best. So thank you everybody for watching today's video. Go and check out Forio. I'll leave a little link in the description below. Also, if you're new or have not done so already, please like and subscribe, as it really does help me out and I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you all next time. Bye!